Apple Daily to close, last pro-democracy Hong Kong newspaper. Hong Kong's sole remaining pro-democracy newspaper will publish its last edition Thursday, forced to shut down after 5 editors and executives were arrested and millions of dollars in assets were frozen as part of China's increasing crackdown on dissent in the semi-autonomous city. The silencing of a prominent pro-democracy voice is the latest sign of China's determination to exert greater control over the city, long known for its freedoms after huge anti-government protests during 2019 shook the government. Since then, Beijing has imposed a strict national security law using the arrest of the newspaper employees and revamped Hong Kong's election laws to keep opposition voices out of the legislature. Apple Daily was founded by tycoon Jimmy Lai in 1995, just 2 years before Britain handed Hong Kong back to China, and initially was a tabloid known for its celebrity gossip. But Lai had also always portrayed the paper as an advocate of Western values and said it should shine a light on snakes, insects, mice, and ants in the dark, according to the paper. What can you say about that?
Well, I mean, look, Hong Kong's gone.
Fully.
It's fully gone. And the thing about it is, it goes back to the same problem we just talked about, HSBC. So Apple Daily, HSBC. Apple Daily shut down. HSBC is still going. What does HSBC do? They basically funnel U.S. dollars into Hong Kong, and then those get exchanged into China for the People's Bank of China. So HSBC is basically the external bank of the Chinese Communist Party. That's what's going on. Fully operational. So while democracy is being shut down, free speech is being shut down, remember what I said? What if the mafia owned the Fed? Mm-hmm. This is what's going on. The Chinese Communist Party, in a way, owns the Fed because they own HSBC, which is basically using the Hong Kong dollar to get hard currency into China. And a hard currency means our dollars. I mean, this is we have built the perfect system, the perfect financial and economic system to allow our economy to be destroyed. And the Chinese Communist Party built the perfect economic and financial system in order to destroy our economy. It's synergistic. It works together. And so Apple Daily goes on. Everybody says, oh, this is terrible, but we're going to still pump billions of dollars into Hong Kong because people in Wall Street are getting fat on that.
I'm going to call a guy here, Edgar. Edgar, if you're ready, I'm calling you. Did you say I have to FaceTime him? FaceTime audio. So do I just press audio or FaceTime? Tell me where to go. Okay, let's go. We need Kai's intelligence.
Thanks, Kai.
Here. All right, let me lower this a little bit. All right.
Hello?
Edgar, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So thank you for the message back and forth. Edgar, you were saying that you were in Hong Kong. Now you can't go back. Can you kind of walk us through what the conditions are? Tell us a little bit about your background and what the conditions are currently right now in Hong Kong.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my background first. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I studied in an international school there for many years, and then I moved to the UK. And I now live in the UK, and I go back to Hong Kong frequently. And from my perspective on Hong Kong, when I was born after the handover. So obviously I lived in a Hong Kong that was never ruled by the British, and it was under a one country, two systems treaty. But the problem with that treaty now is no more than a historical document, because, for example, when Hong Kong in 1993 was 27% share of China's GDP. Now it's only worth 2.9%. So Hong Kong's insignificant now in that terms. And they're really trying to bring Hong Kong in and trying to incorporate them into the kind of the Greater Bay Area, which is, a very big economic area in China. So in that sense, they're trying to bring stability. And they have, in a sense, brought stability. But Hong Kong has definitely changed from when I was there.
Edgar, why is China so afraid of Hong Kong? To the average person, we see this stuff and, you hear celebrities, you see the actor Cena who comes out and apologizes in Chinese. I am so sorry to even think about comparing the two together. Why is China so worried about Hong Kong?
I think they're worried about Hong Kong because Hong Kong was, in a sense, free when I was there. In a sense, the media was free. you had Apple Daily, you had news reporting, and I'd say, the economy was good, people were good. The one country, two systems thing wasn't bad up to a certain point, and then now, they squashed dissident, they squashed any opposition. I think, the chief executive, Carrie Lam, a lot of people have mixed opinions on her. I won't give my opinion, but a lot of people do have mixed opinions on her, and everything's changed now. For example, the police force used to be one of the most respected in the world. Now they're one of the most feared. People are very scared of them. People are very scared to speak up, and people are very afraid to say anything at all.
You're saying police, the Chinese police?
No, Hong Kong police. Hong Kong police used to be very respected, but now, it's totally different from what it was. When it was ruled under the British, you had a lot of British officers, a lot of British seniors in the police force. Now they've been replaced by local Chinese, and they're trying to do that because China's trying to, in a sense, tighten its grip on Hong Kong, and they have successfully done that. And, as your guest was right, Hong Kong, in a sense, is lost. But, if you don't say anything, Hong Kong's the perfect place to live. If you do say something, then, it's not the place for you.
Well, it's the same in China. It's the same in China. If you don't say anything about the government, you're fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And where I used to live in Hong Kong, I used to live right next to the border near Shenzhen. And as you know, it was a special economic zone. And I've seen it get built from a very small kind of town to a really major city. And, there was a difference between Hong Kong and China, but, nowadays there's not that much of a difference apart from a border, but it's not really much of a border, if anything.
There's not much of a border right now, if anything. So for you, with what business you're in right now and what you're doing right now, what are your thoughts about what just happened with Apple Daily?
So personally, I just graduated from university, and I'm in a sales position at the moment. And when I saw the Apple Daily news come out, obviously a lot of people were upset about it. A lot of people are afraid because I believe the owner, Jimmy Lai is his name, has been tried in a court that without any people there. It's just China appoints a judge, and then the judge kind of rules in China's favor. And there's no, it's hard to say 100% what it's like in the courtroom and everything, but I definitely think things have changed. That kind of freedom of press, that kind of justice system that the British put there has been taken away. So a lot has changed in Hong Kong for sure.
Awesome. Any questions from your end, Adam?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
How ugly can this get? Meaning, if you try to silence people in America, as an example, there's going to be people saying, "I'll say what I want, freedom, liberty. Like I'll talk, say what you want." There's probably people. You said you can't, as long as you don't say anything. If you're in Hong Kong and you're a pro-democracy person, you want to voice your opinion, like, is that completely done with? Or how ugly can this get? Give the flip side. If the people revolt, like, what could possibly happen? How ugly could this get?
From now on, people can't revolt. It's totally quashed. The situation in Hong Kong is, in terms of democracy, is, very bleak in that sense. And, in Britain, for example, we've launched a B&O scheme. So I believe people with B&O passports are eligible to come to the UK. And that's really angered China, for example, because
Lithuania just said they'll take Hong Kongers.
Yeah, and obviously it's something China doesn't like, because if you think about it, a lot of Chinese students, a lot of very smart people in Hong Kong are emigrating out of Hong Kong. And, obviously that's going to harm the economy. But I think from now on, Hong Kong's definitely changed, and people should look to Taiwan, because I think that is definitely the next thing to come.
Is he allowed to go back to Hong Kong, or the fact that he's even talking, are you able to go back to Hong Kong? And what happens if you do?
I am able to go back to Hong Kong, and in terms of what I say, I'm not saying anything controversial here. I'm stating facts, straight facts here. And so I think if I do arrive in Hong Kong, I would be allowed in. But there's this national security law extends to the globe. Basically, if you're in America, you say something
if you
bad
say
about
something
China,
against Hong Kong, you can end up in jail.
They don't like that. Then they'll
I
put
showed
you in
up
prison
there.
if you land in Hong Kong or China.
So as an American, if I'm like, I don't like what's going on in Hong Kong, and I go visit Hong Kong, I end up in jail. straight
Well,
up?
it's not the sense that you say, "Oh, I don't like," but if you're very vocal about it, you might have some trouble when you go to Hong Kong or China.
I think
if
you're
they pick up
safe,
on it.
Adam. I think we may not be, but I think you're safe. Edgar,
Yeah, you're safe.
any final thoughts for us? Because anything else you want to tell the listeners?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Hong Kong was a really amazing city in the sense that, Hong Kong had low taxes. It was semi-free. Healthcare was basically almost free, and they also had private healthcare. And I think Hong Kong was a very, economically was very good. But obviously now, the prospects of Hong Kong has definitely kind of gone down. But you never know what might happen in the future. But I definitely think Taiwan is the next kind of
Taiwan's next.
danger point for the world.
What does that mean exactly? Danger point for the world.
Next
Taiwan?
target. China one by one is taking
They're
people out.
the
First one's
next
Hong Kong, they're
target.
next.
And for example, you got India, you got Japan, you got the US, and possibly Australia. And if China, they have been very vocal that they might launch an attack on Taiwan. If they do, Japan recently came out with a statement or something that said that they would strategically back Taiwan, but no one's for sure or knowing or knows that if that's going to happen. So you just got to wait and see for that.
Edgar, thank you for your time. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, Edgar.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.